Welcome back to Crown Chats. I'm honored to welcome today's guest. She holds many titles: actress, writer, producer, podcaster, philanthropist, wife, mother, mouseketeer, and so many more. But to most of us, we love her for bringing us love, hope, and joy in her films with Hallmark Channel. Having starred in over 20 classics like Love Takes Flight, Cranberry Christmas, The Perfect Catch, The Curious Caterer Mysteries, True Justice, 5 More Minutes, World Record Christmas, Our Holiday Story, and so many more. Her brand new film, Home Turf, premieres October 4th on Hallmark Channel. And of course, she has the heavily anticipated Grand Ole Opry Christmas coming this countdown to Christmas season on November 29th. Please join me in welcoming the phenomenal and Crownie Award winning Nikki DeLoach.
Oh, thank you so much for that intro. Man, what a way to start a day.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to Crown Chats. You were on the Crownies to accept, but this is your first time as a guest, so thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Haley, for having me. And that was such a nice and surprising award to receive, like especially when you're acknowledged by our audience. I just find it especially delightful and such a huge blessing, because our audience has a lot of fan favorites. So to be one of them was just really special. So thank you for including me.
I first want to highlight how active you are in using your platform to better the lives of others. With your advocacy work with Children's Hospital Los Angeles, Mind What Matters, and Alzheimer's Association, you truly make it a priority to create awareness for these causes that you have a personal connection with. What is it about this work that empowers you to give back? And what has giving back to others given you in return?
Oh, I love you so much for starting with this question because there's nothing that is more important to me in terms of what I get, besides being a mother, obviously, and a friend and a good community member. There's nothing that matters more to me than being able to give back to causes that I care so much about. And I, so starting from when I was a kid, I took the way that Jesus lived his life very seriously. Like, I fell in love with Jesus at such a young age. And this man that lived his life where he woke up every single day and with such deep humility and just wanted to be of service in the world to our most vulnerable. That was the work of Jesus, and that is the way of Jesus. And I really took that to heart whenever I was a kid. And, my mom used to make fun that I was like this when I was in preschool. If kids didn't have crayons, I would figure out a way to like buy crayons to give to the other kids and make sure, I'm really blessed and really lucky to have found that connection to my faith at a really young age, because it certainly has been the most foundational, principle in my life. And anytime I felt lost or scared, which I did, I was terrified when we found out about my dad's diagnosis. And I found out when I was pregnant with Bennett and found out about his multiple congenital heart defects. That was the same week in the spring of 2017. I found out about both. And I can mark my life by that moment, by that week, because it was everything that came before and everything that would come after. And even though my whole life I always felt like I was an advocate in some way for our most vulnerable, this just took it to a level of action and activation, right? It took it to the next level. And I think there's many reasons. Number one, I can start with Children's Hospital Los Angeles. They saved my child's life, and in the most remarkable way. and there were only a few surgeons in this country that could fix Bennett's heart. And one of them was at Children's Hospital Los Angeles because of the focus that they have on research and innovation at that hospital. It is the fifth top specialty hospital in the world, not just in the US, in the world, where the sickest, most vulnerable kids can go to seek treatment. So without this team and this surgeon, my child would not have made it. So I owe them the minutes and moments of my life and anything I can do to give back to them. But the thing that really got me whenever I was walking those halls at night and looking at all the babies is finding out that it is one of the very few remaining safety net hospitals in the country, which means we turn no child away, regardless of their family's financial situation. And that, to this day, it makes me so emotional, because the only difference between me and a family that can't afford health insurance or can't afford, a surgery like Bennett had is pure luck, right? From my experience, some of those families are working 3 and 4 jobs just to pay their bills, just to make rent. And their child should still be able to get the same life-saving care. And so in that moment, I really decided that I want to spend the rest of my life making sure that those kids can have access to the same health care that my Bennett did. And for my dad, I actually lost my grandfather to vascular dementia. And then my dad got diagnosed with Pick's disease, which is a very rare and aggressive form of dementia. And, that really is what brought me into the world of Alzheimer's, dementia, and specifically caregiving. We are staring down the barrel of the baby boomers getting up in age and those numbers tripling. And so what we've been trying to do, not just at the Alzheimer's Association, but at Mind What Matters specifically, we focus on caregiving. Because if those numbers of people diagnosed are going to triple, that means the numbers of caregivers are going to have to triple. And so at Alzheimer's Association, Ashley Williams and I have been able to throw the Dance to End Alz, and all the money from that event goes through research grants, funding grants, so that we can get closer to, yes, a cure, but most importantly, any research that we can find and we can access that can help us to prevent getting this disease. So we do that with the Alzheimer's Association, and then Mind What Matters, we give financial grants to caregivers of loved ones with neurodegenerative illnesses. And what it does for me is it helps me to take a lot of the pain, and instead of becoming a victim of my pain and saying, why me, honestly, why not me? There are millions of families all across this world that have life and death health crises. But what gets you out of the victimization is to stop asking why me and just start asking, what can I do to help? How can I serve? How can I give back? And so, that is part of me taking that pain and turning it into purpose. And it also allows me to heal in the process. Because with every family I help come to Children's and walk along their journey with them and their child, or every family that I help that has a dementia diagnosis or a caregiver we're able to give a financial grant to, that also heals me. And it also empowers me to keep going. And, I'm reminded often that advocacy is often hard for some people because it requires us to use our voices. And in the world, sometimes that can be very scary. But if we know our why, right, then even if your voice is shaking, you speak anyway. And it allows me to be a model for my kids of how I want them to show up in the world as well.
So I'm a health and fitness nut, and I love to pick the brain of my guests that I know are as well. How do you balance your health, wellness, and fitness routines with being such an in-demand working and busy boy mom?
Ooh, that is a great question too. You just come up with the questions, Haley. Why am I not surprised? I'm not. This is so great. moving my body is mental health. So I had a horrible disordered eating problem starting at the age of 10 years old. And it's not something I've spoken a lot about up until I would say, this last year. I spoke about it on the Mind What Matters podcast with my friend Liz Humphreys. But that was the first time. And I decided to begin to speak out about it because so many women and also men struggle with disordered eating. And, I think the reason I didn't speak out about it before is, like a lot of people who struggle with this, I went and got treatment in my early 20s. And then I thought, well, I'm just cured. And I wasn't. And it wasn't until I entered some really necessary treatment for PTSD. I went into trauma therapy treatment in 2023. And, dealing with a lot of stuff with Bennett and my dad and a lot of stuff that I went through as a kid that kids should not have to experience. It wasn't until I got the help that I needed in 2023 that I realized that it was still there and that it will be there for the rest of my life. It's kind of like anybody dealing with whether it's alcohol or some kind of addiction, you have to remain in recovery. So for me, disordered eating is something I have to remain in recovery with my entire life. And working out is protecting my mental health. Moving my body is protecting my mental health. And there's so many benefits, obviously. I mean, number one, I come from a line of women who had osteoporosis in their 40s. I'm trying to prevent that. And lifting heavy weights helps to prevent that. It also is great for your heart health. It's great for your brain health. So all the studies and the research, it's so clear. Moving your body helps to prevent disease. And so it's not just about protecting my mental health. It helps me in all the other ways. And boy, does it change your mood and it changes your day. When you just turn on some music and you start moving your body in your house, or you're angry and you don't know what to do with your rage, turn on music and dance it out. Like, I feel so strongly about the fact that, when I was a little girl, I started dancing when I was 3. And it wasn't until I went through that trauma therapy that I realized that dance saved my life. I was processing a lot of abuse and trying to move it out of my body as a child. And it was when I would go to dance, I would feel better every single time. And so I started realizing, after doing all the research and doing all the studies, that moving our body helps us to move trauma out of our body, that as a little girl, I was intuitively trying to heal myself and put one foot in front of the other by moving it. So as an adult, I believe so strongly and in moving our bodies. But the other thing is, how do you find the balance? When I'm filming, if I have to wake up and be in that van to go to set at 5:30 in the morning, I set my alarm for 4:30. I get in a 30-minute workout. I move my body for 30 minutes and I get in that van. And I have to just prioritize my sleep. I have to, phones down, no more business after a certain time. And it's just setting all of these boundaries to take care of myself at every turn. Because when you've lost somebody in your life and you work in the medical field, you understand very quickly that it could happen to you as well. And so I just make it a priority. And guess what? There are some days where it just can't happen. I'll go 3 days in a row and it just couldn't happen because of scheduling and the kids and work and all the things. But then very quickly, I'm like, it's been 3 days. I have to get in that gym. No matter what, tomorrow I am moving my body. And I just don't schedule meetings. I won't schedule something. I'll carve out that hour and I will not let anyone take it away from me. And that, if we can't take care of ourselves, if we can't be advocates for ourselves, then it is really hard to do that for other people. And I know we say oxygen mask on, ourselves first. There's a reason for that. There really is, because if I am not doing well, I'm no good to my kids. And also, again, with the modeling, they're looking at me and they're seeing me take care of myself. They're seeing what I'm doing and they're modeling that in their lives as well, because kids don't listen to what we say, they watch what we do.
So, little girl talk here. I am obsessed with your style. You have the perfect wardrobe off and on camera. It's sophisticated yet sporty, and then there's like red carpet chic to it. It's just perfect head to toe. Also, a little unfair that you can rock every hair color and hairstyle. I'm just so envious and in awe of you. That said, are you involved in creating the look for your characters? How much say do you have, and maybe this changes per project, but how much say do you have in the wardrobe and glam decisions to really bring your characters to life?
Oh, well, I mean, that costume designer is so critical, truly, because you are working in collaboration with that person. And, there is a difference between a wardrobe person and a costume designer, right? A costume designer really has a vision for the movie and for the character and I Lorraine, who I got to work with on the Opry movie, she is a beautiful example of a brilliant costume designer. I also worked with her on Taking the Reins. And so when I knew she was going to be on the Opry movie, which, we are doing two different time periods. We are in the present, and then we are also in 1995. So bringing to life, the looks and like think about all the clothes from the 90s, how wild they were with the colors and the boldness and the shoulder pads and everything. She just brought it. And she just it was so amazing. And of course, we have a voice inside of that. We usually have a call ahead of time to kind of talk about how we see our character and what we see our character wearing and if there's any specific ask for specific scenes or moments and Lorraine is she's one of the best at that. With her specifically, we had a quick conversation, but I had worked with her and I knew I didn't have to worry about a single thing. And that wardrobe fitting was just like, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And the thing is, you can also put it on your body and go, hate it. I look like a marshmallow in this. And she's like, yep, take it off, take it off. So it is really a collaboration. And then I have to shout out in my personal life, I have Erin Richards. She's one of my best friends and she's also my stylist. I don't know what I would do without her, Haley, because she's incredible at her job. I'm really good at finding people that are smarter and better at things than I am, and then keeping them really close. I just appreciate artists so much, and I appreciate when somebody's really good at something that they do. I love that. It whether it's a musician or a podcaster or an athlete or a costume designer or stylist, just watching people that are so good at what they do, it really fills me up with a lot of joy. Erin Richards is a brilliant stylist, and I would probably look like a troll without her, I gotta say. I mean, she keeps beautiful clothes on my body. she because otherwise I might show up on a red carpet in my aloe sweats, because I just had a panic attack in my closet and couldn't figure out what to wear. So I have to give a shout out to her and also to the brilliant costume designers we get to work with, like Lorraine. And I think people are going to see this Opry movie. And also Audrey, who Audrey did the costume. She was the costume designer on Home Turf. And it was her first full movie that she had done. And she nailed it. She hit it outside of the park. Every single look in that movie is so good. She's actually the director's sister, McLean Nelson. So Audrey Nelson, giving a shout out to her as well for Home Turf. I think everybody's going to love the looks that I have on there. She just did such a fabulous job.
Yes, every trailer I've seen, I'm just like, I want that. I need that. I need that. Where can I find it? So
they were both so brilliant to work with.
I can't wait to see the 1995. I'm like, is there probably like a lot of denim going on? Because 90s country was a lot of like heavy denim and jeans
Oh,
and stuff. So
Haley, you
yeah,
just get ready. There
no,
are
no,
cowboy boots and denim and sparkles and
yeah,
color, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous, and
yes,
hair and
yes.
makeup and the whole thing.
My husband's favorite is 90s country. So when I told him, he's like, we were watching that one. So he'll join in on a few with me, but he was like, when he's heard that like Rhett Akins and Susie Boggess, who are some of his favorites, are in that one, he's like, when's that one premiering? When's that one premiering? And that wraps up part one with the phenomenal Nikki DeLoach. Stay tuned for part two coming soon, where we chat all about Nikki's brand new films, Home Turf, premiering October 4th on Hallmark Channel, and Grand Ole Opry Christmas, coming this countdown to Christmas season. So until next time, wear your crown. Your crown may tilt, may it never fall, but you are beautiful and you are strong.